Hello everyone, Alejandro Sanchez here with Apex Racing Academy. Today we're kicking things off with a track guide for week 10 of IMSA, this time at Spa-Francorchamps in the Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo. This season we're giving away the Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo data pack completely for free. That includes both the qualifying and race setups, and in those weeks like this one with a slight percentage of rain, that includes the rain setups as well. So also on top of that, we are also including the endurance setups. Just head over to the description or head over to apexracingac.com in order to join the Discord and grab the free data pack. Now let's break down the circuit. Spa is, some bits are technical and some bits are not. It's quite a draft track, so it provides some very interesting races. This car is quite good for this track, but it's better by the Ferrari, for example, in some situations, and this week also includes like a 16% chance of rain, so be careful with that. This car's biggest strength is the tire drop or the lack thereof, but it's also a little bit weak in qualifying as a result, so keep that in mind. The IMSA grids are not that big, so usually it's not that big of a deal. It's a bigger deal in BRS, but nevertheless it's still a good choice for this week. You can grab this season's Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo data pack for IMSA for free by clicking the link in the description below or by going over at apexracingac.com. For T1, be careful because forecasted wind is south and that is tailwind into T1, so you can brake a little bit earlier than usual. Usually I just look at these skid marks that are laid on the asphalt and I take this corner in a second where this car has plenty of torque. Just like that, started turning quite late, it's quite important, and brake quite hard, almost 90%. Second gear, as I said, barely touch the inside curve because it's a 3D curve and you don't really want to upset the car too much. The closer you get to the edge, the more aggressive the profile is of the curve. And then on the exit, just barely use the outside curve, and yeah, careful with the TC triggering. Then through a rouge, well, immediately go back to the right side of the track, obviously to the less meters, drive up against the wall here on the right. And then through a rouge, you want to put the left side tires into this AstroTurf here on the left. Just like that, and start to turn in as soon as the whole car has cleared the curve on the left. Just like this. Barely even touch the inside curve. Ideally, you want to stay in the flat part that is just a painted part of asphalt and not get into the actual camber part of the curve because otherwise you will get pushed wide and understeer and probably get into the slowdown. at the top of the hill, just like this. As long as you have 2 wheels on the curve, it will be completely fine. I think that is the limit actually. It does say in the rules tab, but that's not that great for some reason. So you get the slowdown first, by the way. You don't get an off track, you get a slowdown, so careful with that. And let it track wide, stay on the right side of the track. Very important you keep it in 5th gear, because the car has issues when you shift to 6th. It's just better to keep it in 5th. I mean, it's better for fuel and it's better for speed in this case. But if you feel that you have tailwind around here, you may need to shift to 6th, or if you have draft, for example. So it's not, you need to be a little bit more dynamic with the gear shift changes with this car around this straight. But yeah, careful with that. If you're hitting top speeds of over 256, you need to upshift. But if you do upshift, do it earlier. Don't shift very, very late into the straight. And then for Lecombe, I just brake at the beginning of this curve here on the left. It's quite easy, quite a strong visual point. 3rd gear, open up the line all the way over the curve here, up against the gravel on the left. Trail brake. But yeah, your threshold braking pressure should be roughly around 80. Throw the brakes up until this point, hit the throttle quite soon in order to help the car rotate, put the right side tires beyond the curve and into this inside AstroTurf. Keep it in 3rd, patient with the throttle application. I don't even brake between these 2 corners, you can just lift. And then put the entire car on the asphalt here on the left, beyond the curve. And as long as you have contact with the white line with the least 2 tires, you will be completely fine. Just like this, open up the line, lean over this curve. It helps the car rotate somehow, because it's like banked into the track, so as soon as you lean on it, the suspension compresses and yeah, it just rotates a lot more. It's like this, lift off a little bit in order to not completely understeer off the track. With this car I don't recommend using the inside curve because the car bottoms out quite heavily. With the Porsche maybe, but with this one I don't. And then on the outside, just use the entire runoff. Here you can use quite a bit of the gravel even if you carry too much exit speed, so keep that in mind without getting off track, I mean. Then the downhill hairpin, careful with the snaps of oversteer as you're braking. Don't carry too much speed into it because you will either snap or you will just run wide. Drop it to 2nd, double apex corner, start to brake at the beginning of the curve here on the left. It's like this, trail of the brakes. Up until this point, very, very deep into the corner. So double apex, 1st apex at the beginning and 2nd apex at the end. Don't let the car track too wide between these 2 apexes because otherwise you won't have time to go back into the 2nd apex in this case. So then in the downhill, it's very important as well that you don't let it track too wide to the left. Go back to the right, keep it in 3rd, and yeah, just use the entire curve on the right. Careful when the car gets off the curve because it tends to double bounce or bottom out sometimes. So you just need to turn in a tad earlier than you will with other cars because you have to account for the fact that you're going to spend some time understeering. Then on the entry, I wanted to point out that you need to put the right side tires all the way to the gutter here on the right. And we do this in order to have a wider approach to the corner and so we are able to carry more minimum speed. It's like this, 3rd gear, keep it in 3rd, smooth inputs in order to not upset the car too much. And ideally you want to put the left side tires as close as possible to this inside sausage curve without actually driving over it. So 3rd gear, let the car track wide. Be careful because if you do touch the gravel here, you will get off track. Then through Pujon, it's quite easy with this car. Shift to 5th momentarily, don't keep it in 4th because otherwise you get too much engine braking and the car tends to snap quite a bit. I use brake when I reach these skid marks on the curve on the right. Just like this. Very slight braking pressure because you're just throwing the car into the corner as soon as you start to brake, so careful with that. Trail of the brakes up until this point, pick up the throttle quite smoothly. The point that we want to make around this corner is that you want to carry as much minimum speed as possible and as well as not kill the tires. So it's one of the easiest places on the track where you can kill the right rear in this case, or well, with this car in this case, potentially you can kill the right front if you understeer too much. So you need to be quite smooth with the throttle and let the car roll for a bit on the downhill. Just like this. Ideally you don't want to touch this outside curve whatsoever. You want to stay within the white line because that will help the car rotate, and if you do touch the outside curve, it's completely over because you will understeer because the car is going to bottom out. So it's like this, you want to aim for this inside white line on the exit as well in order to make sure that you have good traction on the exit and you're not getting loose. And And then in the outside, just don't go over the AstroTurf here on the right, you don't really need it, just use the curve. Then for this sector, you want to start to brake a little bit before the beginning of this curve here on the left. And you can brake quite hard, you can brake around 80%. Three of the brakes to third gear. Don't use this inside curve, I don't really recommend it with this car, just use the white line because it helps the car rotate. And then on the second part, neither. You just want to stay within the white line and you want to be quite patient with the throttle. You can see I'm not touching the brakes at any point through here. Trying to keep the differential locked for as long as possible. Like this on the exit, just try to aim for this little patch of AstroTurf between the curve and the gravel here on the right. And then for this double right-hander, it's very important you carry good exit speed. The sector ends right after this corner, so it's quite a bit deceiving. If you carry too much entry speed, you can get an insane sector, but then the next sector, the last sector, is going to be quite bad. So keep that in mind. Start to brake at the beginning here of the curve on the left. Open up the line, drive over the grass a little bit. Very progressive on the brakes, as you can see. Hold it to around 50%, through the brakes up until this point, and then once again we are going to aim for the white line as close as possible to this inside curve without driving over it. Then third, you can lean on this outside gravel, no problem, as you can see here. And then just make sure that you get your turning in point right for this corner. You can do it flat, but be careful with the way you've taken the corner previously, because if you've slid on the corner previously, you will have no rear tires and you will probably snap on through here. So be very mindful of the condition of your tires through this corner. It's like this very small lift. If you can see here, it's like, yeah, like 5% for a tenth of a second or anything like that, if anything. But yeah, you want to drive over this gutter here on the right, but not any further than that. And then on the exit, you want to aim for this little patch of AstroTurf between the curve and the gravel in order to make sure that you've carried good enough exit speed. Then go back to the right side of the track, 2 less meters, straight line through these 2 corners. Then Blanchimon when it's completely flat, just put the entire car beyond the white line. As long as you have 2 wheels on the actual tarmac here on the left, you'll be fine. Shift to 5th, well, to 6th, sorry, before the actual corner. And then make sure you don't drive over this inside curve, and also make sure you don't go any further than this into the outside curve, because it's like makes like a hump, and if you drive over the hump, you will completely bottom out the car. Then for last chicane, I just braked at the white line, going across the track, this timing white line. As soon as I clear it, I start to brake, just like this. Open up the line over the curve here on the left. Don't completely go to the edge of the curve, because as I said on T1, and the closer you get to the outer edge, the more aggressive the profile is, so gotta keep that in mind. With the brakes up to 2nd gear, just get really close to this inside sausage curve without actually driving over it too much. I mean, in this case, it was quite clear what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to hook the car up while I'm trying to use the inside sausage curve to rotate the car by only touching it with the right rear. So that's ideally what you want to do. 2nd gear, I don't even tap the brakes through here, I just let it go. And then be patient with the throttle application here on exit, because you can snap and lose a lot of traction if you don't get it right. Just like that. Then on the exit, it's quite a bit deceiving, because you would think that this green part is also AstroTurf, but no, it's also curve. So as long as you keep in contact with the actual curve, you'll be fine. So ideally what you want to do is just keep the left side tires touching the curve at all times, but as little as possible, because that way you will maximize your traction out of the corner, because the car is not going to go up and down constantly on the curve profile. So just like that, all the way to the start finish line. Don't forget to head over to apexracingac.com or by clicking the link in the description below. Also don't forget to join the Discord server, where we are providing support for every car, not just the Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo, as well as the coaching sessions that we host on Wednesday evenings for IMSA, where a coach is gonna sit with you for anything between an hour and 2 hours, and yeah, you can just ask him in voice chat whatever questions you have, and he can watch you drive in real time. So it's like a massive deal, because you basically get a coaching session for free. So yeah, take full advantage of that, and see you next one.